Hey, boys and girls. All right, here we go. Fourth graders, we are on to chapter 9, lesson 2. This one is relate hundredths and decimals. Now, the last lesson, we related tenths and decimals, right? Okay, so hundredths and decimals. So just look at this number line here for number 4. Okay, on the top part of the number line, it's just mixed numbers. It's a whole number and a fraction. It just happens to have a gigantic denominator of 100, right? Hundredths, and then right below is the decimal that matches it. So that's how this is a really good visual of how you can relate hundredths and decimals. Fractions and decimals, they are the same. Look at that. Can you see it? Oh, let me change colors. They're really the same. 4 and 20 hundredths is right there. How do I read this one? 4 and 20 hundredths. All right, so let's just jump up here and read the directions first. It says for number 4, write the fraction or mixed number and the decimal shown by the model. Okay, so here is our point right there. Okay, so let's see. It goes from 4 and 20 hundredths to 4 and 80 hundredths. And there are lots and lots of things marked in between, right? So right here, that's 4 and 60 hundredths, right? 4 and 60 hundredths. And then the next big mark is 4 and 70 hundredths. 4 and 70 hundredths. So in between, it's like going from 60 to 70. So there are 10 equal parts between there. So if we go from 60 to 70, 60, 61, 62. Oh, they're so teeny, aren't they? So let's write that first as a fraction. So it's 4 and how many hundredths? 62 100ths. 62 out of 100 equal parts. So you might think, well, that wasn't 100, that was 10. If this number line stretched all the way down and it started at 4 and stretched all the way up to 5, there would be 100 little teeny spaces. Okay, so there's the fraction. They probably just don't have room in the math book. And then the decimal, 4 and 62 hundredths. Okay, the 2 is in the hundredths place. So you just read that like a regular old number, 62, 62 what? What's that last place value? It's the hundredths. Oh, I'm going to change colors. Hundredths. Hundredths. I told you this is a very spitty chapter. A lot of spitting. All right, let's keep going, guys. So for 8 and 9, the directions say, write the fraction or mixed number as a decimal. All right, so if I read number 8, it says 25 and 50 100ths. All right, so 25 and 50 100ths. Okay, 50. Did I end up in the hundredths place? I sure did. 50 hundredths. Beautiful. All right, let's take a look at number 9. I'm going to read that out loud. 6 hundredths. All right, there's nothing in the ones place, so I'm going to put a 0 there. Put the decimal there because, you know, it's a decimal number. We're writing it as a decimal. So 6 hundredths. Now, what if I wrote this? Is that 600ths? No, that's not, is it? Remember that? That's the tenths place. That's the tenths place. That would be written as 6/10ths. And we want to write 600ths. So we have to put a 0 here in the tenths place because there are no tenths in 600ths. Okay? That's the hundredths place right there. 600ths. And this really reminds me of money. If you had 6 cents, that would be 6 out of 100 that make $1. And you would write 6 out of those 100 right there for 6 cents. Right? All right, beautiful. They always try to trick you with those little single digit over 100. Don't let them get you. Okay, number 10. Let's read this. It's at the bottom of the page. There are 100 pennies in $1. What? I just said that. It's like they read my mind. What fraction of $1 is 61 pennies? Write it as a fraction, as a decimal, and in word form. Okay, well, if there are 100 pennies in $1, and they want to know what fraction of $1 is 61 pennies? Well, that would be 61 pennies out of how many pennies that make $1? 100 pennies make $1, right? 61 hundredths. Now, as a decimal, 0, because we don't have any whole dollars, and 61 hundredths, right? Also known as 61 cents, right? Do you see the connection to money? 61 cents is 61 out of the 100 that make $1. All right, and then third, in word form, 61 hundredths. Okay? Awesome. Let's keep going. All right, so this is at the top of the next page, number 2 in the lesson check. There were 100 questions on the unit test. Alondra answered 97 of the questions correctly. Nice job, Alondra. What decimal represents the fraction of questions Alondra answered correctly? All right, so looking at these choices, 97 out of the 100. So she answered 97 out of 100. I'm going to write it as just a fraction because I'm familiar with fractions. 97 hundredths. Which one of these shows 97 hundredths? Well, if you look at it, guys, this one and this one and this one, they all have whole numbers in them, right? She answered 97 out of 100 questions, 97 hundredths. Boom, right there. That's a decimal. That's a fraction. This is a fraction, not a decimal, but it's less than 1 whole, and that's the only choice that is less than 1 whole. Sensible? Yeah. Let's see what the review is now. This goes back to Chapter 8, Lesson 4. More fraction stuff. All right, let's see what it says. Misha used 1/4 of a carton of 12 eggs to make an omelet. How many eggs did she use? So this is like an equivalent fraction situation here. So I'm going to write 1/4, because she used 1/4 of the carton, equals how many twelfths? Okay, because there were 12 eggs in the carton. She used 1/4 of the carton. So 1/4 is equivalent to how many twelfths? That will give us the number of eggs that she used. Now let's see. Equivalent fraction. I have to do the same thing to the numerator as the denominator. So I'm thinking, what did I do to get from 4 to 12? Well, I multiplied it by 3. 4 times 3 equals 12. If I multiplied 4 times 3, I have to multiply 1 times 3. I can't just make one part of it 3 times bigger. What's 1 times 3? 3. Right? So equivalent fractions don't always have to be division and simplifying, but that's what you're doing a lot of. Equivalent fractions can also be by multiplying, be made by multiplying. Okay? So she used 3 eggs. All right? Beautiful work, guys. I'm really proud of you. Keep on keeping on.